Hi everyone, it's me, Charles Norman from Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. AthleticSOS is a software technology that lets you, if you have a kid that's trying to get an athletic scholarship, we take their academic information, the sport they play, the level they believe they can participate at the collegiate level, and then we tie all of that together and give you a list of schools that they academically qualify to attend that offer scholarships for their sport and at the level that they can play and where they want to go play. And so they can start going down that list, finding the schools that make sense to them, and then we give you some additional information about how much it costs and some other things that you might want to know to give you the best opportunity. And our approach to this is find the schools that you want to go to, that you qualify to attend at the level you can play, and then let them know where you're going to be, where you are, what high school you go to, what travel club program you're on, are you going to a combine, a showcase, viewing term, where are you going to be, so they can come and see you. And now that changes the dynamic of you hoping to be discovered versus, oh, go get verified. And so to us, it makes a big difference. And we've been doing this for quite a few years. We do not advertise. The only time you hear about this is if you see me sitting here, somehow you stumbled on this video, or you go through an organization or a club that we've partnered with that offer it. And the reason we do it that way is because we want to make sure that we're working with people that are already helping kids move forward in youth sports, and that they are doing it the right way. And so we can kind of take care of that in a way. Now, when I do these, if you found this video, you are going to get an opportunity to use the software. We do not charge for the software. That doesn't mean it's free. We work out agreements with the organization that we're working with to try to find some sponsors and some advertisers and things like that. And it helps us, and they get a piece of it. You guys don't pay for the software, and it's working out. It's a long process to get where we're trying to get to, but it is working, and it's the way we want to do business. So anyway, so that's how it all works out for us. And so at the bottom of the video, I always put a code down there. I give you instructions for how to use the code, and you can go ahead and use the software. And so there's different versions of the software, but this is the one I'm giving you guys is more than enough for you to get to where you need to get to. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about youth sports, athletic scholarship, transfer portals, NIL, all of the stuff that we talk about as a parent trying to get your kid through this maze that's going on, right? And then I want to answer this question for you. Are you getting suckered? Does it feel like everything's so chaotic, you can't get a straight answer on what you need to do? Starting from youth sports, are you having trouble getting that separation, right? Your kid didn't start off really great. Your kid didn't know anything about it. You're 5, 6 years old, you put them in their first sport, and you get there and you realize all these other kids are already advanced. Your kid's so far behind. Somewhere between 5 and 8, there's a separation. Some of the kids go on to travel club programs. They get snatched out of the regular rec and park, the AYSOs, the NJBs, those type of things, Little League, wherever they are, they get snatched out, and now they're on their way to this other world inside of youth sports. And so your kid's left behind. And then by the time they get to junior high school, even the travel club programs start to consolidate. The better travel club programs start pulling those junior high school kids in, stealing them away from their original travel club program and leaving the kids that are in the recreational space even further behind. But now all of a sudden your kid's getting pretty good, but you don't have those connections right now. What do you do there? How do you move your kid over to that other area? Then, so we call that middle piece a focus. Now your kids really focus on the sports they want to be in. But you get to high school and you find out maybe your kids should have been playing a different sport because they don't have the size, the weight, the height, whatever is required for them to really excel and be really good at the high school years. And so they don't get on the varsity team, or they make varsity, they don't get a chance to play very often. And now that opportunity to get an athletic scholarship to college is dwindling because of things that happened way back when they were 5 or 6 years old. So how do you get there? But the reason I am even doing this today is because I have a great opportunity to go and meet with people in this industry at different levels. And so this past week, I was on a call with some professional players. And this professional group was putting together, I won't talk about what they were doing. I've got NDAs for all this stuff that I do. But anyway, so as our conversation was going and we were kind of winding down the meeting, they were talking about the transfer portal. And this is at the collegiate level. And I know we're talking high school and things like that. And this is at the collegiate level. But here's what was interesting to me. They were saying that this year, and I'm doing this in 2024, so 2023, 2024 year, there are tens of thousands of kids stuck in the college transfer portal. And for those of you who don't know what the transfer portal is, it's basically you played at college, maybe your freshman, sophomore year, and you just didn't have a good time. Maybe your coach is leaving. Maybe you didn't get a chance to play like they promised you. Maybe you got injured. Maybe the coach is giving you a wink and a nod that you might not want to come back this year. Maybe they pulled your scholarship for some reason. Something's going on and you want out. You want to move somewhere else. Well, in order to do that, you have to be in the transfer portal. And to get in the transfer portal, which I think is just crazy to me, but you have to go to your college, the college that you just played with, that you want to leave, you have to go to the administrative offices and have them put you in the transfer portal. And this allows other college coaches to see you there, and they can pull you from that transfer portal, and now you can go to this new school. It's a way of organizing it. So when they told me that it's not working the way everyone thought it was going to work, especially for the athletes, because now they're stuck in the transfer portal. No one's picked them up. Now, what do? You can't go back to the team you were on. You just told them you don't want to be there. Why would they be? They're probably going to recruit over you and take your position away for whatever reason you got in that transfer portal. So my bottom line is, are you being suckered? Is there a way to beat the system? And youth sports system is just like any other system in the world. You guys, if you know my history, how I got into this thing, my daughter had an opportunity to play. I thought she was good enough to play at the collegiate level. Other people did too. And we just happened to hit it back at the time, back in 2008, where we had that financial meltdown. And the job that I was working for the government, they put us on furlough. So I was stuck for money more than anything. And so we were trying to get her moving forward. So I started getting involved to try to figure out, how does this all work? How does the youth sports world work? How does my daughter get an athletic scholarship? What are the processes? And I'm in technology. And so I need a formula. I need to know what I need to do step by step. How does it work? And I don't think everything can ever be perfect and you can guarantee anything, but I just need to know, okay, can somebody tell me, what do you do to help your kid get an athletic scholarship? And no one had an answer. Nobody had a clue. It basically became a thing of, hey, you got to go out, you got to get on one of these club teams, and you have to get the exposure, and your kid has to already be talented. And basically, you're going to have to hope that a school that needs what they do, see them perform at that level, and think that they can help that program. And it sort of felt like a wish and a hope and a prayer more than, oh, here's the pattern for it, here's how you do it. And so I got fortunate, because I don't have the money to put her on this top club team, right? It was really expensive at the time. And I would have to go with her because she's my daughter, so it's almost doubling the price. And so I got lucky because her high school coach, who had just come there her freshman year, he used to be a junior college coach. And he's the one that told me, you guys are doing this all wrong. And so we followed his pattern for how he was doing it, getting kids from junior college to four-year schools. We just followed that pattern. And it worked out perfectly for us. And then I started helping a few other people. And then in 2013, I came out with the original version of what's now called AthleticSOS. But back then, all I was trying to do was give it to some nonprofits. And this is where things kind of went off the rail. And that was back in 2015. I started my own company because things weren't working out good with the nonprofits, and not their fault, but they have a different mandate than what I was trying to accomplish. I put a front end on my back end, and now I have AthleticSOS. And so what I want to talk to you guys about today is, are you being suckered going into this youth sports world thinking it's laid out or it's fair or something like that? And in a word, yes, you are. But in another word, no, you aren't. Because if you do this one thing, if you do this, what I'm about to tell you today, I think you'll be fine. I think your kid can go as far as they need to go or as far as they can go in sports. And the real key to this thing, to not be considered being suckered, just in case it doesn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out, is if you can leverage athletics, if you can, especially youth sports, if you can leverage that to get your kid in position to use it to have a great rest of their life, you win the game. That is the secret. All you're trying to do is take youth sports and use it to put yourself in position for your kid to end up with a fantastic life later on, regardless of how far they go. I don't care if they go pro. This still is the place, because your kid has a talent. And most people don't see it that way. They see it as, you put your kid in a sport and it's just a recreational thing. And then there's a separation at some point, right? And some kids don't go past age 12, because once you hit high school, you have to make the high school team. And the kids that don't make the high school team may continue playing recreationally, but they don't really move forward. They're not going to go pro, most likely, right? They're not going to go to the Olympics. They're not going to get an athletic scholarship. They may not even make varsity. But if we play this thing right early on, you can win. And so how do you play it right? And that's what I want to talk about today. I did all of that to get here. And so here's what we want to do. We want to do, one thing is we want to win at the youth sports game, and then we want to run parallel to the youth sports game, right? So here's the youth sports over here. We're trying to go as far as we can with our kid, but we also want to run this parallel game along with it. I'm a guy sitting in the park. So maybe you listen to me, maybe you don't. But here's what I'm going to tell you to do for the youth sports piece. When you use AthleticSOS, and even if you don't have a kid necessarily in there, but you know somebody, you got a grandkid, you got a niece or nephew or something like that. If you go to act like you're going to register for AthleticSOS, you don't have to finish it up, but there's going to be a list of schools that you have to choose a list of sports that you're going to choose one of those sports. Look at that list. On that list are every single sport there's an opportunity to get an athletic scholarship. And so what you want to do when you're starting out, you want to do discoveries. So from 5 to 9, do not panic, parents. Your kid may start off behind everyone else, but it's okay. From 5 to 9, we're just trying to find the right sport for them, right? And so it's anywhere from archery to wrestling. There's about 30 sports in between there. Find a couple. So you want to find a sport that they just physically can do. But there are at least 2 or 3 sports that every single kid, this is my opinion, every single kid just naturally connects with, that they just do it and it's effortless for them. The problem is that most kids never find out what that sport is because their parents puts them in soccer early on, or basketball or baseball or volleyball or whatever they put them in, right? They put them in a couple of sports that are popular around them. They can easily find a program for it. It could be, the rec and parks at the Boys and Girls Club. It could be all of these things. They're already sitting there. There's AYSO, like I said, NJB, Pop Warner. There's Little League, there's girls softball, there's gymnastics, there's volleyball. All of these sports we always see, but there are a ton of other sports that are available to them. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to let them try a bunch of these sports. And once they find something, so by the time they hit junior high school, maybe they made a travel club program, maybe they didn't. But they found their sport, they found their niche, and now you're going to get them in a program that allows them to get better at that. And you want to get them where they can get some training and they can join some other kids that are participating in that sport because they have an affinity for it, they have a knack for it, and that will get picked up. By the time they get to junior high school, so we're talking 10 to 12 years old, right? So in that age group, now we're trying to do what we call focusing. So we did discovery, now we're doing focusing. So we want to pick at least 2 of those, and you can do 2 or 3, but 2 is pretty good. 2 of those sports, one that they love, that they will want to play, but maybe physically they're not going to get there, or maybe they're good at it, but they're not great at it. But there's another sport where they just fits them. So we want to get at least 2 of those. And now we're going to do what we call focusing. And focusing is different than what everybody thinks it is. Yes, you want to get on a travel club program. Yes, you want to get training for that, right? So maybe private training, group training. You got a great coach, and you want them to get better. And what we're trying to do there is we're trying to find out where do they fit in that sport? What are they good at? Because one of the biggest secrets to life is, are you valuable to the group? And so if you could be valuable to that group, and by the way you play, so if it's a team sport, are you good at, this particular piece of that team sport? And so you want to kind of drill into that. Yeah, you want to be a general understanding of how to play the game and maybe play multiple positions. But what is it when someone sees you, they go, this kid is this. This is what they are in this sport. And so that's what you're trying to drill in. And so you're trying to get there. The other thing you're trying to do is you're trying to find trainers that will say, okay, here's where you're going to be size-wise, movement-wise, everything. This is where we can see you playing at the collegiate level. Maybe you start with the high school level, but at the collegiate level, and you want to get that kind of training for them. So make sure that you're focusing on your kid being valuable as they move through the ranks of that sport. And so that's what you're trying to do. But we also want to do some different kind of training. And these are things I'll try to bring to you guys. If you guys stick with me for a while here, you want to think about vision training. People don't think about these things. Oxygen training. How do your kid breathe? One of the things we find with youth sports is you get tired, right? And if you're playing competitively, at some point it's going to be even Steven, end of the game, everybody's exhausted. Mentally, if you can control your breathing and how you can concentrate better. There's a saying, an old saying is that fatigue makes cowards of us all. When you're really tired, you want to give up, you want to quit. But what if you can get that second breath? What if you can come back when everybody else is going down, you grab that second breath, and now you're kind of fresh, you're ready to go. You can explode, you can be much better than everybody else out there because they're exhausted. And so those are kind of things. And then the other one is the cognitive piece of this, that if you can get your brain to see the game differently than everyone else. And some of the people that I've been working with in this field, because I just geek out on stuff like this, we did an experiment. We all walked in a room and stuff, and you'd be really surprised on how many things your brain just takes away from you. You walk in that room, you don't see 90% because you're on there on a mission. When you're moving through life, you're trying to get something accomplished. You ever walk into a store and you can walk right past everything. You see it visually, it's there, but you don't register it. It doesn't imprint on your brain. And so then you're looking for something. You ever go down a row of at a grocery store or something, and you're looking for something, and you walked right past it. You go, wait, I just went down that row. I didn't see XYZ, because you're trying to take all of this stuff in, and you're thinking about stuff you got to do later, and you got to get back, and you got to do this, and life is just going through your head over and over again. But if you get cognitive training, that you start to see the world differently than everyone else. I think that's a really important piece of this. So anyway, so you've got this focus piece, right? You're doing the physical, you're doing the mental, you're doing the visual, you're doing all that kind of cool stuff. And now you're going to get to your 12, 13, you want to play at the high school years. And this is where we talk about positioning. And I think this is a big, huge, important piece of life. Remember, we're trying to figure this all out as we're playing sports. And so now we're trying to make varsity, and maybe you have to start at frosh soft. And so where do you fit in at that high school level? And sometimes you come in and you don't have the size. Maybe your school's got a really good program. There's varsity kids already there. Maybe you can make JV early enough because you did so much on the focus, and at Discovery you found the right sport and it fits you. People can see that and you get to JV. If you did that early part right, maybe you can come in at the JV level, and you need to get to the varsity level. And maybe you're so good at what we're talking about right now, you get to the varsity level early on. You're not playing a lot, but you're there. And now that's where you're going to really start positioning yourself. And all we're going to do there are the very basics, right? We're going to make sure that we go to our counselor, and we're going to say we want to take the courses and get the timing right to play NCAA Division I sports. That's what we want to do. I know I hear the parents already. Well, my kid's already academically rock solid. They're A student. Take the right courses to play sports, people. I don't care if you get straight A's, you're taking the advanced placement classes, the college prep classes. That's all great. I can't tell you year after year after year. I get kids that did great in high school, but they didn't take the right courses, and they ended up not being able to play the first year. And it gets them overlooked by that college coach to get one of those coveted spots for an athletic scholarship. Yes, they go on and they can have a pretty good life, but we didn't leverage sports the way we should have leveraged it. The other thing is, I get parents every single year, sports are dumb. My kid's going to college to be, for academics, and they're going to have this great career. I'm going to say this to you too, and I'm just a guy sitting in the park. The world changed in 2020. You can go to college. Your kid can be a straight A student. They can go in. They can do all this great stuff at college, straight A, the valedictorian of college, whatever they want to do. But when they go out into the world now, it's who you know, not what you know anymore. And I know that's been said from years back, but the world really changed since 2020. The advances from 2020, because of that situation with the pandemic, everything accelerated. They do not need you as much as you think they do. The only way for you to really move forward for this next generation of kids that are coming out of school now and the ones behind them, it's who you know. It's the assets you picked up playing sports is where we want to leverage our sports stuff. So we'll talk about that. But so you get to high school, you're playing varsity, and things are going well there. So the things you want to do, I told you, take the right courses. Keep your grades up, 3.5 or above. Hey, this is for you athletes. 3.5 and above, because what that does is, because most of the college sports, if you get an athletic scholarship, it is not a head count sport, which means you're going to get a full ride at the D1 level. They are equivalency sports, which means they're going to give you partial scholarships. And when you get a partial scholarship, college is ridiculously expensive right now. And so what you want to do is get enough money to make it make sense. And not just for you, because I think debt is the worst thing you can have. But it's not just for you to get money for yourself. It's for that college coach to even come after you. If they know you got that 3.5 and above, you're playing an equivalency sport, and I'll go over the things for head count and equivalency. For boys, it's football and basketball. That's it. D1 level, NCAA Division I, you will get a full ride. For girls, it's basketball, volleyball, gymnastics, and tennis. If you play one of those sports and you get a D1 scholarship, they're going to give you a full ride. Everything else is an equivalency sport. And even those sports at the lower levels, NCAA Division II, Division III, NAIA, you're probably going to get equivalency money. That they can do whatever they want at the college. And so some people you'll hear about run track and field and the kid got a full ride. Well, that kid was an exceptional kid. Trust me. That's why they got that. But that's rare, not the norm. So don't count on that. So, but if you get that academic money too, now you can make up the difference. School costs $30,000. I can give you 10 for athletics, and I can give you another 10, 15 for academics. Now you got 25. You have to make up the other 5. I'm going to recruit you because I know it makes sense for you to come to my school. If you can only get the athletic money and it's $30,000, $40,000, and I can only give you 10, are you going to be able to make up that other $20,000, $30,000? That's where it comes into. And this is what you have to think about, and this is what people miss out on. And so a lot of kids don't get athletic scholarships, and they don't know what happened. And it just happened this year too. I hear story after story after story. Every kid thought they had it all going, and then something went wrong. And that is why that happened. Okay, so that is the path as far as I'm concerned for you trying to get an athletic scholarship. No guarantees. You use our software, you will find all of the schools across the country. So that's number 3. That you have to get exposure, but you don't want to get exposure like everyone else is getting, because what they're doing is they're going to these combines and showcases and viewing tournaments, and they're hoping to get discovered. We're doing it the other way around. We're going to let those schools know we're interested in them and tell them where we're going to be, and they know we have the grades to go there. They know we're interested in their school, and then we want to get vouched for and get some credibility from our high school coach or travel club coach. Hey, college coach, this kid can play at this level. Please take a look at them. And if you're interested, here's their profile and here's where they're going to be coming up. And it's all in the software, so I don't want to get too far in that. If you go to AthleticSOS.com, on the front page, there's a short video. It's about a minute long. It'll show you what the software does, and you can decide for yourself if you want to register for it, no cost. Okay, so we've got those things down. Then the ACT, SAT, the world changed since 2020, like I told you. So a lot of court cases went through. Supreme Court has chimed in on this. The SAT and ACT are no longer required for you to play NCAA level sports and NAIA either. You could play your first year even if you never took those tests. That used to be mandatory. That's gone. But what everybody forgets and what everybody doesn't think about is that doesn't mean the college doesn't require it. So I've got a bunch of athletes the last 2 years. It's a nightmare for me. They won't take the SAT and ACT because they heard it's not required. But then they miss out on so many schools that require it. And I will say this, in our software over the last couple of years, the ACT, SAT, a lot of the colleges aren't required. Especially in California, a lot of the Cal states don't require it. And you can go to that college in general, you don't have to have it. But here's the difference maker. It doesn't mean that they don't look at it. And so what you want to do, especially if you're going down the road that we're going down, is you want to be the outlier. You want to be the athlete that took the ACT and SAT, got your scores in, and it shows that you could be a good student there, because that can also lead to you getting recruited over a bunch of other kids that are trying to get those spots. And so what is the big deal with getting an athletic scholarship, right? You want to go to college and you want to go and take the grades, because it is true with an athletic scholarship, depending on the level you go to, there's some courses they won't let you take. Courses with a lot of labs, right? In the medical field, things, science field, the tech field, those kind of things. They may not let you because it takes away from you. You're really going to play the sport. Yes, you're going for school, but they can take those away from you. And so even if you want to go into one of those fields, I still say go ahead and get that athletic scholarship if you can, because your first 2 years are general ed anyway. So if you do want your kid to come out of that later on, and don't forget they're going to be an adult at that point in time, if you do want them to go down this other path, because you think they're going to make more money going in these other fields. I get it, people. Let them play the first 2 years, because it still sets them apart from everyone else in life. Being able to have played at the collegiate level, and I don't care what level it is, sets you apart. And that's what you're trying to do with your kid. You're trying to let them go into an interview, or when they're having a conversation with someone, or they're trying to move forward with something, you want them to be able to sit down and say, hey, I did this too, because that's impressive to everyone. Because I don't care if it's varsity in high school or playing at the collegiate level at any level, most people can't make it there, and that's how you set yourself apart. So let them play. Then they can come out of it after 2 years if you want them to, and they can go into the field they want to go to. They're going to have to pay for school a little bit, but it's there. And so those are the kind of things I want you guys to think just differently than everybody else. So we just took that path down sports and why you want to do it and what I think are the best ways for you to get there. But what is that parallel path? And this is the one that I think sets us apart. And I call it Athlete and. I've got my shirt on. I'm creating an e-commerce site to go along with this whole thing that I'm talking about with you guys. But Athlete the and That is the thing. Can your kids say what their and is? Yes, I'm a basketball player and I'm this. I'm a football player and I'm this. Volleyball, we go down the line with it, right? So all of these different sports. And that is where you change the game for your kid. And so how do we do this? So let's start with that 5 to 9 year old again. So what we want to do there is we've got them playing sports. And one of the things cool with sports is you're going to go to the field or whatever it is, probably usually in your neighborhood, but every now and then you'll go out to another area, especially if you do travel club. What is your kid into? Who are they? Do you know who your kid is? What do they do when they're not playing sports, when they're just hanging around? Yes, I know you guys got them reading and doing their homework and all that kind of stuff, but there's something your kid is all about. It's something they're interested in. And they will change as the years go by. Or if they don't have anything, when you go out to do those things, can you guys go out and have breakfast somewhere by the water or up in the mountains, or make a picnic and go someplace, or go visit a site or something? What can you get them interested in? Can you figure out what your kid's all about? This is our and. We're trying to get an and for them. And so as they move through these different sports, the other thing is, I told you guys, try a bunch of different sports. Put them in different environments. If you're from an environment where it's baseball, basketball, football, soccer, take them over, learn archery, learn sailing. Take everybody someplace close to you. There's somebody that will teach them how to do these other sports so they can learn it. And why do you want to do that? Because you're trying to figure out who your kid is, right? There's solo sports, there's team sports, there's hybrid sports, there's athletic sports, there's semi-athletic sports, there's skill sports, there's technical sports. All of those things, your kid, you're trying to find out can they excel at, but they got to try a lot of different things. But on top of that, they're going to meet different types of people. People that are into these other sports, they think differently, they're different. Your kid is trying to make friends with people, and now these are what I call assets. You're starting to make friends with people that you may not even go into that sport later on, but you connected with somebody. Now you can get their phone number, their communication. You can meet those parents. These things change lives, people. I know you're saying, hey, they're 5 to 9. What are you talking about, Charles? They're going to be doing all this other stuff. These are the building blocks. You're teaching your kid how to connect with people away from the sport and during the sport. So they're trying to find people they connect with, who they are. They're getting socially connected with people instead of just over social media or technology, right? They're doing it face to face, and they're going through something with someone else too. And as they get older, this just escalates. It escalates because what happens is there's a separation between the parents and the kid. You got your kid playing sports. They say they're pretty good at it. Now they've got all this pressure on them. They got to keep their grades up. Everybody's giving them a pat on the back, attaboy. They get to the, or attagirl. They get to the field and everyone's depending on them to come through because they're excelling at this sport. That's a lot of pressure for a kid. And they can't act like they don't want to be there. They can't have a bad game. Everybody's looking for them to be the hero week after week after week. That's a lot of pressure. So when they get to travel club and when they get to these other programs, they want to meet other kids that are in their situation. They can talk with each other. They can feel they have empathy for one another, right? And they can talk about what they're going through away from you guys. This is really important. I know everybody's thinking, I know everything my kid's all about. I said, you don't know. Trust me. And as they get older, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And now you get to high school, right? So you've passed that middle piece. And we talked about doing the other things, the vision, the cognitive, and the oxygen, and all these other different training. Different stuff's coming out. And I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on with that area. But what you want your kids to do is start connecting with somebody. And so now they're getting a little bit more focused on that sport, and they're finding out who they are as they're doing that too. And then you're going to move into the high school years, and this is where it really becomes a big deal. So now you want them to start getting around college level kids. The kids that actually can play at the collegiate level, they need to be competing against them. They need to be practicing against them. They need to get exposure tournaments against them. You do not necessarily have to go with the top team in your area to do that. You just have to compete against them. So create your own team if you want to. Now, I know a lot of the teams, when you get to the high school age, they go to tournaments and combines and showcases, and they're involved in those. And those kids go play the sport. They go sit down somewhere because they don't want them to get tired. And they got to get them ready for the next thing. They all eat together. They don't get to interact with anybody else. You may have to start your own team. You may have to start a club program, or if you already have a club program, maybe that could be your differentiator where you can say, hey, come with us. We're going to play the sport, but we're also going to do these other things. We want to get these kids well-rounded. We want to get them involved. We want to see who they are. We want to give them something different than the other club teams. That could be your differentiator and make kids come to you because you're looking at sports holistically, not just, hey, we're going to play this. We're going to be the best. We're going to focus only on what we're doing here. And if you can do that, that's the way to go. And so though that's that parallel world, and I promise you, your kids are going to meet people And those people, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, they're going to still know those people. And as they get to college, the same thing's going to happen. If they get an athletic scholarship, or if they go to college in general, maybe they didn't get the athletic scholarship. They're still pretty good at that sport. And so they can get on the club team on the sport. It still lets them stand out. Yes, we want the athletic scholarship, but if they don't get it, and now they're on that campus, and now as they're meeting with other people, it gives them an opportunity to set themselves apart. And all the way through this, what we're really trying to do is create great people. And so they're going to take their talents as an athlete, and they're going to go to their junior high school, and they're going to walk to the campus, and they're going to find those kids that they play with in elementary, and they're going to say, hey, what's going on? You know, because they're using their clout to build other people up. This is what we're trying to create here. When they get to high school, the same thing. They're going to walk through there. They're going to see the kids they played junior high and elementary, and they're going to say, hey, well, you know, we got a game now. You guys coming to the game? What's going on? And that kid may be really shy and things aren't going that well for them, but now this kid on the campus that's got all the clout that's walking through there, they acknowledge them. All of a sudden, they start feeling pretty good about themselves. You're lifting them up. That's what we want our kids to do, especially the ones that have that talent. They can go to the next level and the next level and the next level. And so that is where you start building who you are. You start creating these networks. That kid, that geeky kid, the kid that didn't make it, the kid that washed out at elementary, that didn't even make a travel club team, all that, you remember them. And you acknowledge them. And that may be the kid that later on is going to come up with some great idea, and they're going to say, hey, I want you a part of this because of how you treated me back when I was in junior high school. Maybe your kid will be the one that's going to create this thing. They're a great athlete. Everything goes their way, right? They may remember that kid. Hey, that kid was good at math, or that kid was good at science, or that kid was good at theater, or that kid was on the audiovisual team. I need somebody to help me out here because I want to make my own videos and stuff like that. I'm going to create my own social media. I'm going to ask that kid to help me out. But it's because I was cool with that kid. I was nice to that kid. I did something that we connected. That's where the world is going, and for your kids. And I can go down the road on this thing over and over and over again. But that is how you don't get suckered. That you use youth sports to go down two different roads. You're preparing your kid to pick up assets, to pick up who they are, find out who they are, and move forward as a human being. And they're going to go as far as they can as an athlete. Both can be true. Both can work out together. And so we're really excited this year. We're growing like crazy. If you have a program and you want to get in touch with us, so we're doing a couple of things. We have this athlete and thing going. And what that is we're creating a pipeline so we're working with municipalities, we're working with institutions, we're working with religious organizations, and that have schools, and they're trying to figure out what can we do. We've got a lot of municipalities that money's getting cut from the youth programs, right, the summer programs, and they're really scared. They feel like they're going to have a bunch of kids running around with nothing to do, and nothing that just leads to a lot of trouble in a lot of places. And so they're trying to figure out what to do there. So we're helping some of them do that. And we've got a lot of religious organizations that are starting their own school programs, but they don't have the athletes yet. So we're trying to help them pick up a pipeline of kids, and they're going to have to get started now, and it may not pay off for another 10 years, but they're all into that. So we're really excited about that too. And then we have a travel club program now so if you have a travel club, you don't have to be a high school. We do have a high school program. That's kind of how I built this originally. And the reason I did it with high schools is because there's counselors, there's trained people on campus that can help these kids get into college, get themselves together, make sure they're taking the right courses, get them on the right path. And then there's coaches there that have some credentials, and they know how to teach the kids, and they know how to work with those kids and look for those signs. Those kids are going there anyway, signs of distress or trouble, and where your talents are and things like that. And then so we have the travel club program too. So you guys feel free to get in touch with us. You can contact us at info@AthleticSOS.com. So anybody that wants to work with us, if you have a travel club program, you have a program where you're helping kids, you have a nonprofit, you got this institution, whatever you have, and you think our software can help your program, more than willing to work with you guys to help get it in there. We do, right, it's at no cost, but we do need to figure out a way to make some kind of income, and we can talk about that on the other side because we want to keep this going. I want to get this in the hands of every single athlete I could possibly get into. I know I've been going a long time. I'm going to finish up with this last thing. So part of my history, my dad, when I was a kid, almost 50 years ago here, he used to, in South LA, he was a big guy. He was a social media guy. I mean, social media. He was a social guy, right? He was the guy, community organizer type thing. So he had a youth center there. And so I've seen this, all these organizations that come up, that are trying to do help, right? He was on the youth gang services. He had his youth center. He did graffiti cleanup. We did all of this stuff to try to get the neighborhood. So I used to sit in those meetings. You know, I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. I just sit because I had to wait for him to get done to go home. And we would have politicians would come through there, religious leaders would come through there, educators would come through there. Everybody's coming there trying to figure out this thing. How do we get the kids to think about their future? This was a big deal back then because kids didn't think they were going to even be around. We're in South LA. They didn't think they were going to be around. They never thought past high school that they would even get that far, let alone what would happen later on. How do they think about their future? How do they concentrate and focus on their grades? Because why would I focus on my grades if I'm not thinking about my future? So these are things that most of you guys don't even think about. They're trying to survive, to get things. I know everybody's keep on saying, oh, just do the right thing in there. But when you're in this world and you don't see it, it makes a big difference. And so these are the two big things they're trying to figure out. How do we get them to focus on their grades and think about their future? And so all these years later, it's the same thing. You hear it over and over again. How do we get these kids? And I think the electives in school are the secret, because that's where kids want to be, not where they have to be. And you can have as many programs as you want to, but if you're dragging kids to something, they will go and you'll get a couple of them, but they were going to be okay anyway. And maybe you'll enlighten a few of them and you'll get them, but the majority, you're going to miss out because they don't even want to be there. They didn't ask to be there, and you're trying to show them something and you're trying to light a spark. I get it. Everybody's trying to do the right thing. But if you can find something they want to do and incorporate that and say, okay, you can do this, but if you're going to do this, then you need to do this too. You need to get your grades together. You need to learn how to read and write. And here are the opportunities that you have with this if you want to do it. Let's take you to some places so that you can be inspired. Not to be lectured, but to be inspired. And that's what we want to try to get to with sports. And here's the biggest secret for me. Parents, you got to do it. I know you're tired. I know you go to work. I know you have to come home. I know you got to worry about finances. I know you just want some time for yourself, but those are your kids. Too bad, so sad. You got to get it done. You got to be there for them. And it goes by really, really quickly. And this is the reason I think when, I get a lot of organizations and I sit with them and they're trying to fix youth sports. They're trying to get to be what it was before. A lot of fun, kids getting social, learning how to wins and losses, how to, navigate life, how to compete. Because that's really why parents, I think, put their kids in there. Yeah, they want them to have fun. But what you really want as a parent is you want your kid to compete. Maybe that kid's averages 50 points a game, right? And your kid's got to guard them. You just want your kid to fight. And maybe that kid only gets 49 that game. But what you really want is for your kid to have left everything out there. And that other kid had to work. That at the end, there's a respect there. Because that's what life's all about. You're not going to be the best of everything, but you got to compete over and over and over again. That's what's going to help you be successful. And then we want to pick up those other things too, because that's kind of what we're doing. So no, you're not being suckered in the sense that these people are trying out to get you or take your money. And I could go down this whole path of nonprofits and, how to cure this and save this and do all of that. You start to see year after year after year. And I worked in government, even the people with the best intentions, that whenever you try to fix it with some rules or something like that, it always backfires. There's always something somebody didn't see. When I was with the city, the homeless thing was a big, big deal. I retired pretty recently. But even when we started going around and looking at things for homeless, I saw right away, I said, a lot of these people aren't going to come into this program because you're trying to force them to do something. You can't do that. You got to meet people where they are and see where they want to be and try to make it the best you can. So you should do it. You should still try. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the real way to do it is families, parents. You guys are going to have to be at the forefront of this. You're going to have to get your kid. You're going to find out who your kid is, and you're going to have to put them in position to be successful forever. And if they're good at athletics, we'd like to be a part of that. So go ahead and look at AthleticSOS. If your kid is younger, think about some of the other things I was talking about. Go and act like you're going to register. Look at all of those sports. And this summer, as you're going into this summer, start putting your kid in some of the ones that you don't see around you. Some of the things that you think might be interesting. Your kid's personality. Are they loners? Are they kids that get along with everybody? Give them an opportunity to be who they are. They'll grow out of it, but put them in a world where they can excel without having to force them to be this social person. If your kid's really, really social, great athlete, all of that, then put them someplace where they can get that energy out and they can learn things and they can be it out in nature. If you're in the urban area, if you're in a nature area, bring them into the urban area and go to museums, go do something. But as you're moving through life, you start putting together a package. Hey, we're going to be over here. Here's what we're going to do with you. This is your kid. They can't tell you what you can and can't do. So you're going to say, hey, while we're here, you guys can hang around here, but we're going to go do this. If you're going on a trip that's away figure out what else is in that area and maybe go up a day early or stay a day late and go do some of those other things. Get your kid in the mindset, because what your kid's going to do later on is what they saw you do with them. And they're going to pick that up and they're going to do that with your grandkids, right? And you can go and chill out a little bit. So that's when you get to have the fun and chill out and see that you left a pattern. You left a standard for your family. And so that's where I think things should go. I know this one's been long, but I'm hoping you guys continue to rock with us. I'm going to really kind of focus in on the next couple of weeks on other things that I think you guys should be doing this summer with your kids, regardless of where you are in this situation. You're not lost. You're not that far behind if your kid has that talent. But we'll talk about that as we move forward. Anyway, you guys, I know this has been really, really long. Best of luck to you guys in all your endeavors. If you want to reach out to us, info@AthleticSOS. I always check it myself, or somebody on our staff will look at it. If they see something interesting and you guys are interested in the software, let me know and we'll give you guys the instructions you need to go ahead and get started. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.